What if I told you your self-sabotage isn't failure, it isn't weakness, and it isn't because there's something wrong with you? It's actually a survival mechanism, a program that's been installed so deeply that you don't even know it's there. My name's Carl, and welcome to the channel. If you found yourself here, it's probably not the first time you've tried to fix the self-sabotage that keeps showing up in your life. Maybe you're fresh out of a breakup, or you notice the same relationship issues showing up in your life, or you keep hitting walls in business or your career. No doubt you've tried therapy, counseling, meditations, journaling, or even you've tried breath work or just trying to hold solid during conflict. But still, when you get invested in someone or something, you start to spiral, you chase, you overextend, and on the way you lose yourself during it, and it shows up everywhere. In your relationships, your business, your leadership. You've seen it play out over and over and over again, and you swear to yourself you'll change. But why do the patterns keep repeating? What you've got to understand is you're not broken. You don't have a behavior problem. You have a system, an unconscious program that's designed to keep you safe, not successful. So every time you avoid hard conversations, apologize to keep the peace, abandon your needs to make her happy, or you collapse in conflict, or procrastinate in business, it's all the same program. It's your unconscious pulling you back into what's familiar. It's actually pulling you back into the identity that you've formed as a boy that's still running unconsciously as a man. So before we move any further, who is this work for and who is it not for? This is for men who don't want a band-aid solution. For the men who, want to keep blaming women or work or their past. Men that play the victim. And especially the men that are looking to be saved. This is for the men who have just done with the loop. They're done with seeing the same relationship patterns and problems show out. They're done hitting limits in their business, and they still feel fractured inside. As I've mentioned, you've already tried the therapy, the breath work, but you know deep down there's still something operating. There's still a reason why these things keep showing up. So this is for the man who's ready to take full responsibility. No more collapse. No more performance-based identity. And the men who are done managing symptoms and they just want to rip it out at the root and take back control of their life. So if you're ready to cut the code and remove the unconscious programming that's ruling your life so you can step into your power, keep watching. To help you understand how these mechanisms work, I'm going to use an example. So your conscious mind is like a computer screen. Then you have your unconscious, which is the powerful operating system, which is basically the software. When you try to do breath work, journal, audiobooks, therapy, talk about your problems, what you're essentially doing is switching out the computer screen, or you're opening up a new tab or changing the screensaver. And there's still a virus that's operating in the software that projects onto the screen. So it's actually your unconscious that is determining how you perceive the world. So this is why you'll sabotage and keep pulling yourself back into that same operating system that's been encoded through your experiences in life when you have unintegrated parts and programs still operating. Silence from her will make you feel like you've done something wrong. You'll over apologize and overextend to make yourself feel safe. You may collapse, feel guilty for expressing what you truly want, your needs, because that's what you learned to do when you were younger. Push everything away. Maybe in business you gain momentum but then you freeze, or you keep hitting the same cap in your business every month, over and over and over, or you keep looping in your career. You want to move forward, but for some reason you doubt yourself, you shrink. You know what you need to do, but you hesitate. You self-sabotage because you're pulling yourself back into the same environment of your unconscious. Same pattern, different environment, because the root is internal. So, you probably tried to create structures before. This is why they fail without foundation. Trying to create new habits or routines on top of what is already broken and not actually you, a false sense of self that you had to create for you to survive, to fit in, to be loved. You always look back to the familiar because the mind is trying to keep you safe. This is boy psychology trapped in time. I'm not talking about inner child work, all that woo-woo bullshit out there that you see. This is basically embedded survival traits that have gone unconscious that still want to survive, so they create evidence in your current reality to reinforce the identity so they can stay alive. A lot of these things too were formed when you were too young to even name them, too young to even process what's going on, because you don't actually know the difference between the house, your parents, and yourself. You are just everything, so you absorb everything. So this is where we start to program and create our identity. This isn't about personal growth. This is about survival versus sovereignty. This is about removing all the boy psychology that's still operating unconsciously so you can transcend it and then step into wholeness and being solid in who you are. And if you're stuck in this boy psychology, what you'll keep doing is reflecting the same emotional patterns and the same behaviors that you had with your parents. For example, you'll take on her emotions like it's your responsibility, not to help her, not to support her, but you want to fix her so you feel good, because if she ain't good, then you ain't good, and then that's when she starts to rule your world. You know, you'll react, you'll get anxiety, you'll shut down, go stonewalling instead of responding. It's all a reaction. That's the key word, react. You're replaying an action from your past. It's unconscious. So over time you lose respect from her, and then you lose respect to yourself. You may have everything on paper, but you still feel fractured inside. It's not an accident, it's just programming. It's two minds. There's the authentic part of you, the solid man that's waiting to come out, and then there's the unconscious boy trapped in psychological time that's still trying to survive. This is where you get resistance. This is where you keep playing out the stuff in your relationships and success in your life over and over. So what is actually happening is your unconscious is running the show. It doesn't care about peace, power, or purpose. It only cares about survival. So when you even get good, you pull away. When you get the woman you want, you self-sabotage, because that goodness and that stuff that you want, deep down it feels unsafe, it feels unfamiliar. So a lot of people focus on addition, doing more, being more, getting more success, getting more money. If I have this amount, then things will change. Maybe she'll love me. But it's not about adding more in your life. You've already done that. You've already tried that. It's about subtracting what's false. It's about eliminating the belief structures that have formed these identities that no longer serve you. So you can finally lead from a solid core, not a fractured identity. So this is how it works. We want to bring the unconscious conscious, because how are we meant to change something that we can't see? How are we meant to take control of things that we can't see? This is the tricky part. Our ego and our survival part of our brain is so good at deflecting us from seeing the real truth, is it will keep us in suffering and pain to prove the very thing that the unconscious is playing out. This is where I mirror back to the men things that they can't see. So when I help them see what they can't see, then they can get out of their own way. Secondly, once we've removed the code, the virus that's operating and keeping you reacting and running out the same patterns and problems in your relationships and life, we have a clear slate. It's like we've removed all the false foundations, all the boy psychology that's still trapped in psychological time. Then we have a solid foundation now. This is where we go into building and integrating the real structures of you, your values, your needs, your standards. What are your non-negotiables? This list starts to create and solidify who you are as a man. Because I can guarantee you, you probably don't even know what your top 3 values are right now. Maybe you do, and that's solid. But are those values built out of your authentic self as a man, or are they a projection of what maybe an ex-partner or society thinks that a man should be? So you're living that, hoping that you're going to gain this externally. That's not sovereignty. That's still living out of someone else's narrative, someone else's lens. This is where it's really powerful, and it never seems to stop amazing me how quick the shift happens when you get the root programming. Stuff that men have been working on for years changes in weeks. And a common theme that I've seen with the 150 men and counting that I've worked with over the past 5 years is they solidify their relationships. Some of them have found new partners and have been getting married, which is awesome. They elevate in their business, whether they move up in leadership roles in their companies or they start to surpass financial success in their business, because everything is a reflection of the relationship with yourself. So when you start to dissolve and remove all the stuff that keeps you trapped in self-sabotage, everything shifts. It's all about removing what's not you, so it reveals what is you, the solid and unshakable man within that's always been there. So if you've made it this far, I appreciate you for watching. I hope you've gained some value and some understanding of why you do what you do. With that note being said, if you've made it this far as well, I know that this is for you. I know you see that there's potential here to break free of what's been keeping you trapped for most of your life without you even knowing it. So if you're ready to create a shift that actually lasts and holds, there's a link below on the way to contact me. Shoot me a message and let's jump on a call and see how I can help you break free from the sabotage for good and take back your power.